Okay, let's talk about this article. A vacuum cleaner can alert you to incoming text messages. Why? You want to be texted while you vacuum?
Look, this is exactly the kind of craziness which really gets me annoyed. I don't understand why appliances manufacturers are doing this kind of crazy stuff. I mean, Samsung seems to be the worst. The stuff that we talked about the smart TV. I remember going to a shopping mall and these people were demonstrating the new Samsung smart TV. I think it was Samsung, might have been Sony to be fair. But anyway, they were telling me this, you've got to do this. And I would say, okay, what is actually the point here? Why do I have to wear glasses to watch television? And they said, well, that's the whole thing. You put on glasses. So the whole family are going to sit there like crazy people with these particular...
Yeah, well, that was the thing, right? Everyone is a parent. And then I remember you, I think I was there for one of those conversations when Noel Lemming in New Zealand here, and you asked a similar question. And the sales guy goes, you said, well, what about the people in my family? And they said, oh, they'll have to buy them too. And they were like something like $200 or $300 a. And then I just said this thought, like I didn't say this to the attendant, but I remember us talking about how ridiculous it was that you'd have them on your face and then everyone would be covered with these things on their faces. And like if you wanted to look at your family, you'd have to lift them up. And
they were a complete visor, like some sort of ski mask or
They
something.
were quite chunky.
They were very chunky.
I know later on in the 3D TV space, they obviously got a little lighter. Yeah. But I think there's that photo of me at one of the tech shows in New Zealand where I was wearing one of these things. And it was just like, as you say, this full ski goggle kind of thing.
Ski goggle. And, the thing I said is, okay, television watching has changed. We don't necessarily watch linear TV. The water cooler thing of going into work and we've all watched the same thing is long gone. But, the group of people in a particular house situation may all be watching Adolescence or something on Netflix, and they want to talk to each other. They want to share the stuff. And you make comments and all the rest of it. And here you are all bottled up with this crazy thing. I also said to the people, what television shows are now available or going to be available? And they just looked at each other.
They never really had it.
Because they never had anything. So,
but I mean, the thing, of course, of this whole point is that we're making is the AI, consumer AI, and having it do these things where it's able to do this technology now is, again, it's the argument is it's like the fail of 3D TV, which was a technology-led thing. It was about them finding ways to continue to say you should do TV sales, and consumers just never were convinced it was bringing anything to the table for them.
No, but there's been a whole succession of this. I remember years ago I was in Seattle in Microsoft headquarters, and they had Bill Gates had a home of the future there. And at that stage, it was absolutely revolutionary that he and they were boasting about this amazing refrigerator where it could detect that you're running out of milk. And then suddenly this vehicle would arrive because it would automatically order more milk for you. Well, I had this kind of nightmare that it would all go wrong and then there's a gigantic milk tanker arriving in your driveway. All you wanted was another bottle of milk. And you may actually want a different type of milk, and this whole idea that the machine could actually dictate to you what you want without any input, I just think is crazy. And the article, what I loved most about the article was right at the end, it had a correction, which I thought summed up the whole kind of craziness of it. And the correction said that in one of the versions, the audio version of the story said Samsung's new washer dryer can make phone calls. After the story aired, Samsung told us that the machine can't place outgoing calls directly, but can display incoming calls on its screen, but only when paired with a smartphone. So, exactly what's the point? Why don't you just use a smartphone when your incoming call comes and you can't make it out through anyway?
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, the ridiculousness of this for me, before we get into why this matters to AI, is why would you need this, right? I mean, between the whole thing now with smartwatches or smart devices attached to you, the fact that most people actually are glued to their smartphones, that they're probably actually on them in their back pockets. I mean, it's really the boomers, quite frankly, that can put them down and walk away, right?
Well,
But the thing is, you don't need, it's Wi-Fi enabled. All my phones are Wi-Fi enabled. I don't, if I'm down in the laundry, I'm likely to have the thing with me. Also, we're not really phone calling, we're texting, which probably goes back to the thing. But the thing is, it's all this additional thing for what reason? It's the same, I would say, the same 3D TV argument. It's these embedded industries that have these technology lines that are not able to keep, there's a limit to the innovation space here. And they throw these things in that probably are easy to do and cheap now, right? But this is the problem for AI, and this is where I think the nature of it all goes, is obviously AI is the new sexy beast, the new sexy thing you can add, and it's like throw this onto everything, even though there's no real consumer use case. And I just think it's going to go down the same path. And if anything, make users more skeptical, because they're going to have the same reaction of why? Why do I need it? What is it offering? And the AI kind of things they are offering at the moment, I'm not sure. They feel gimmicky.
Justin, this is really the real nux of the problem, because you're actually going to get a situation where people become so skeptical, if not cynical and laughing at this kind of stuff, that they're just going to say, okay, well, AI could do X, but why would I need this? I mean, just go back to the wash and dry thing, and I'm quite fascinated by this. I've just done my washing and drying. Now, it took an hour 50. I'm not standing there by the washer dryer waiting to see a screen that says I got an incoming call. I mean, and then I can't reply to it anyway. I'm also not standing by the washer dryer for 1 minute 50. I put it in there and walk away and do whatever I want to do. So could someone please, who created this amazing and no doubt very expensive washer dryer that can do this, explain to me why they thought this was a good idea? And unfortunately, going back to what you're saying, is some of these AT applications are going to be exactly the same, and they are just simply going to put people off AI, which has got enormous benefits, and a lot of good things are being developed, but we're just going to get in this kind of
No, and I think the other thing here is we are definitely following another trend, which is becoming a classic case of something where consumers are starting to have enough, and that's the smart TV direction, where they're, this is even things like the Ring products line, that you can't buy a device anymore as a standalone. We've lost this for our consumption of books and music and movies, etc. We've kind of lost this thing between streaming and Spotify, and Kindles, etc. We don't own these things anymore. We buy a license to use them, which is interesting. It's good that Americans had actually passed a law recently that they have to actually now admit that. But same with gaming. We buy these things as a license. We don't own them, and they can be taken away. There's many of those case examples at Amazon rescinding your book after you paid for it. But and the same with music and everything, which is problematic, because now we're looking at hardware. We're looking at these hardware devices that also, there's been a horrible number of stories of people buying into technology lines that then get made defunct because the subscription doesn't work. And also Spotify did that recently with that thingamajig in the car. And so if you bought that, it's the subscription for it stops functioning, and that actually was the entire reliance on how it operated. And my concern is that we're going down a path where we're going to get these embedded devices. They have all this AI in them, but it's not ambient AI. You have to pay for a subscription, like the Amazon thing, where now the Amazon Pro Alexa is going to be a subscription. And if you want the more fancy version, apparently there is an absolute. Did you know this? Apparently there's a use case out there now, I think Amazon claims, where when you want to set a timer, you want to have more of a conversation because, there's a more advanced version of AI can discuss with you. Maybe it'll give you a more efficient timing. Maybe it'll monitor you as you go.
Wow, how much
is it going to cost? $20 a month in USD. So like for New Zealand, like $30. But my point is that this is the thing. You're using these things as these layered subscriptions or these subscriptions. And if they stop working, the hardware effectively doesn't function. And so this insidious nature of things being kind of like mediated further from us even more by saying, okay, you actually can buy this device, but guess what? Unless you buy for a subscription, it's not actually going to function. That's worrisome. And I wonder whether AI would be the impetus to do more of this. Because they'll be like, well, it's smart, but you need to pay for it. I mean, don't get me wrong, embedded AI chips and stuff will come along, but, I can't help but feel the gimmick nature of this. We're going to have a very long period in between where it gets stabilized with these devices that are AI enabled, that you pay a subscription for, and then they stop working. And
yeah, look, I'm sorry, Justin, I've got to go now. My dryer is just telling me that it's just about to make a meal. It's got a recipe. It's got mixed up with my refrigerator, which was making a meal. So I'm sorry, I better go.
All right, well, I'll let you go manage that then.